of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Ms. Frank?
Mayor Kindle,
Present.
Councilwoman Costantino,
Present.
Councilman Jenny,
Here.
Councilwoman Pies,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki,
Here.
Councilwoman Williams,
Here.
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
Acting City Manager Szymanski,
Here.
and City Attorney Diwali.
Here.
All right, we have a presentation from the Helms, so Peggy, would you step forward?
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to be here to speak. My name is Peggy Hayes. I'm the Executive Director at the Helm at the Bowl Life Center. We're located in Grosse Pointe Farms, but we do service all of Harper Woods and all the Grosse Pointes. In 1978, a group got together and formed what was the beginning of our organization called Services for Older Citizens. And since then, we've been renamed the Helm, but we've continued to do all the services and programs and expand our services for the past 40-some years. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it today because I know that we're kind of a good, best-kept secret in the Harper Woods and Grosse Pointe area. So I wanted to just update you a little bit, and then at the end tell you a little bit about a program that we have coming up tomorrow and on August 23rd. Like I said, a lot of people know us maybe as the Meals on Wheels service. We do service the Harper Woods and Grosse Pointes on the Meals on Wheels program. Everyone who gets Meals on Wheels in that area gets them from the Helm. We also are the dispatcher for PATS, which is the Point Area Assisted Transportation Service. That's the bus service for all the seniors who can need transportation to doctor's appointments, grocery shopping, that kind of thing. But after that, I think a lot of people don't know what else we do. So I'm going to give you a few little tidbits and snippets of information before I'm done here. Meals on Wheels, as I mentioned, we did 23,000 plus meals last year, of which 45% were to residents in Harper Woods. So you're a big part of our clientele. PATS rides, nearly 7,900 rides, of which 37% were rides within the Harper Woods community with your residents. During the pandemic, we had to close our doors and not let people in the building temporarily for part of that, but we continued to provide services the entire time. We never shut down one day. The building shut down on March 13th, 2020, and my staff reported the following Monday and continued working. So we did things like we do Medicare counseling. People still turned 65 during the pandemic and needed to have help getting through that maze that's called Medicare. So we do one-on-one counseling and classes and programming. That's all free. We help people do taxes. We have a medical loan closet. So if you need medical equipment, we have almost anything you could think of that we loan out free of charge. People donate that to us and we pass it along to people. And it's a very active program. It was really active during the pandemic, and we, again, just put things out on the porch and did exchanges in a safe, secure way. We had a congregate lunch program where people would come in the building and sit and have lunches with us. Well, obviously we couldn't have people in doing that, so we switched over to a carryout program. And in 2021, we did 4,500 plus meals Monday through Friday during that whole year of 2020 and into 2021. We have offered over 2,800 classes, programs, educational sessions, exercise. We have a lot of exercise programs. And we've continued to do those even throughout the pandemic safely and securely. We have blue tape marking 6 feet intervals and that kind of thing around our building, but we've been able to continue to offer those services to all the residents in Harper Woods and the Grosse Pointes, as well as some people still come in and use our service even outside that specific area. We loan books and puzzles. People during the pandemic couldn't buy a puzzle or couldn't get to the library early on, and so we loan books. We have a huge lending library where people donate, again, books and puzzles, and we pass those along and share our goods. Last year, in the past couple of years, over 100 households have received holiday gift baskets. They were primarily residents of Meals on Wheels, but also some other entities, people that we knew about that needed that. So they got what might have been their only holiday gift that year was from the Helm. And that was thanks to all the contributions of people. But one program I wanted to talk about today, because it's a little bit new, and I've left some flyers with the mayor, and she promises she'll pass those around. We have started a farmer's market at the Helm on Thursdays from 11 till noon. Full Circle, which is a local organization, has a farmer's market. It's all locally grown produce, and they sell it for a very good price, and it's kind of a fundraiser for that nonprofit organization as well. In addition, for the first time, tomorrow, August 9th, and again on August 23rd, we're bringing Eastern Market to our area. So people are going to be able to get all the fun stuff that you can buy at Farmers Market from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on August 9th and August 23rd. And in addition to that, Project Fresh, which is a program that's we're working on through the Detroit Area Agency on Aging, is offering Project Fresh coupons. So qualifying people, they have to be over 60, live in the Harper Woods or Grosse Points or in Detroit, and they will be able to secure, by filling out an application there, a coupon worth $25 that they'll be able to spend right at the market. So it's free $25 that they'll be able to spend at the market and get fresh produce. And it's a really great way to get some of that fun stuff that you don't have to drive all the way down to Eastern Market to get. So we're trying that out 2 times this year. It may be expanded upon next year. It's in August, but I do call your attention to that. And in closing, I just want to tell people we have everything that I talk about, everything that we do at the Helm. This is a 24-page booklet of everything that we do, the services that we offer. Many of our programs are free. Some of them have a nominal fee. And it's just a wide variety of programs, classes, fun things to do. We do movies, we do day trips. We've just resumed those again. So if you ever want to read this, we do drop some off here at City Hall, but also you can go to our website, and this is printed in its entirety on our website, and our website is www.helmlife.org. And you can see the schedule of everything that's going on, new programs. We have a home safety program that we do where we go out and check people's homes, and there's like a 20-point checklist, and if they need a fire detector or a smoke detector or a carbon monoxide detector, if they don't have a fire extinguisher, if they have light bulbs that are out because they can't get up on a ladder and change their light bulbs, our volunteers do that program. So all those programs are free. They're all funded through different grants and things that we have been able to secure. So do take advantage of this. Take a look at it. If you're a senior, we're the place to be. And we're also the place to be even if you're not a senior, because we do offer support for caregivers as well. A lot of times our first interaction with a person is because their son or daughter calls us and says, I live in California and my mom's home and I just discovered she needs help with food or whatever. So we get calls and referrals on that, and we do support and provide information from, for a wide variety of services and programs too. So definitely check out our website, helmlife.org. And thank you again. And if you need more copies of this, you can always call the Helm and we'll be happy to send them out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Peggy, she has-
Just a quick question. I know I went on your site, I saw that there were a number of free programs and they look excellent. What I'm curious about is, in order to take advantage of your programs, whether they're free or cost something, do you have to be a member of the Helm?
No, you don't have to be a member. We do have memberships, and some people have taken advantage of that. There is a $60 annual fee, which works out to $5 a month. It does give you some discounts for different programs and things that we offer. A lot of our programs, as you notice, are free. We get those funded through Detroit Area Agency on Aging, Wayne County Community College. There's a lot of partners that we work with who help us offer those programs free. And you don't even technically have to live in Harper Woods or Grosse Pointe in order to come to our programs. We have residents from Roseville and East Point and Detroit and surrounding areas as well. So we're really a senior wellness and activity center that we truly try and be something for everybody. So you're more than welcome to come, even if you don't live in Harper Woods or Grosse Pointe.
All right,
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess I'm still a little confused. I could have sworn I went one time and I was going there for a little bit and take advantage of the lunches that you paid for, but then all of a sudden it seemed like it said, well, you can't really come now unless you buy a membership. And I was saying, well, we as Harper Woods contribute a lot to the Helm. So
Someone gave you bad information. You absolutely do not have to be a member to do any of that program. You don't have to be a member for lunches, anything. You can all take advantage of that. So there is no requirement that you have to be a member.
so the membership does allow you say discounts.
There is a discount for members because they're paying a small fee to be a member, so that allows them discounts for some of the programs. But you do not have to be a member. But I'm glad you let me clear that up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Come back again.
Are there any further questions of the council? Thank you so much.
Thank you
We'll
so
be in
much.
touch.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have another quick presentation I wanted to get out of the way. This is a presentation to our clerk.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes. Here you go.
You want me to read it?
Yes.
All right. It's a proclamation. Whereas Leslie Frank began her career in the city of Harper Woods as the administrative assistant to the city manager on November 1st, 1995. Whereas along with her many duties in the office of the city manager, Leslie also held several roles, including general office manager. And whereas October 4th, 2011, Leslie was appointed to the position of acting city clerk. And whereas in June of the following year, Leslie began her quest toward, is that 2 MC or 11 MC? 1? Oh, I. Okay, I'm sorry.
International Institute of Municipal Clerks.
Oh, bravo. The International Institute of Municipal Clerk Certification with the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks, which is an organization that promotes and educates Michigan clerks. And whereas Leslie was appointed to the position of Harper Woods City Clerk on the 9th day of June in 2012, and whereas in the office of City Clerk, Leslie continued to perform her many administrative tasks while acting as recording secretary and performing all election activities. And whereas Leslie Frank has earned the admiration and regard of her fellow public servants and the city of Harper Woods, recognizes the dedication and talents and acquiring the certification of MIPMC, which means
Michigan Public Municipal Clerk.
Michigan Public Municipal Clerk. Bravo.
And certified Michigan Clerk.
Okay, certified. Therefore, Valerie Kindle, our mayor, along with city council, does hereby proclaim congratulations to Leslie Frank.
And on behalf of this is our congratulations to you.
Oh, this is
and the
really
city of
nice.
Harper.
Thank you,
She's
everybody.
always doing so much for all of us, and I thought it was
Right.
special that we do something special for you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna give her a break here so she can put her goodies away.
We decided we didn't want to wait until the end of the program,
All right.
until the end of the meeting.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. All right, I need a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Sawicki?
I'll offer a motion to receive, approve, and file the regular city council meeting held on July 11th, 2022. To receive and file the election commission meeting held July 11th, 22. To receive and file the board of review meeting held July 19th of 22. To receive and file the special joint meeting of the planning board of zoning appeals and city council held July 25th of '22, and to receive and file the Cannabis Subcommittee meeting held July 28th of '22.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Constantino. Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have a public comment on agenda items, and it's only for agenda items. Otherwise, you would speak when the call to audience. So if you have anything that you want to speak to about the agenda, then you can speak now. Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to approve the consent agenda, items 1 through 10.
Support.
Support. Discussion.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I have two questions. The first is regarding the BSNA software. It didn't indicate in the material, that we received. Is this the same thing that we pay every year, or is it seemed a little higher to me, and so I was curious as to whether the price went up or if this is just the standard amount that we've been paying.
Okay, this is for the annual update expense, and that's for all the suites that the city uses with BSNA. We use BSNA for payroll, for timesheets, for general ledger, for assessing, for taxes, for our miscellaneous accounts receivable, and our water. And these are for updates throughout the system, not only to be compliant with new rules, regulations, taxes, but also to prevent malware. So there is a little spike here, but at the same time, it's reasonable.
All right. And the second question I had is from the check register, and this is our page 30 or page 2 of the register, and it has to do with Doxim. I see the check is 124,985, and it doesn't really have to do with the cost of this water bill printing and property bill printing, but it has more to do with the water billing error that many people experienced. I think it was last month. I know that we experienced it in our household, where the amount that was shown was not accurate as to what we actually owed, and there was some discrepancy with the website, and so I'm just curious as to whether that was a problem with Doxim or a problem internally, or what's going on with that.
Okay, Doxim is I want to say the company that we use to print the bills, but the errors start on our system. And yes, there was an error, a human error that was on the water billing system. It has been fixed, and to resend, mailings and everything else, that we use Doxim for that.
I think if it should happen again, it might be worthwhile getting an email out to people, maybe through Nixle or something that would alert them to the fact that there's a general
Okay,
problem.
so noted.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call, Mrs. Frank?
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
And Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, now we move over to old business, and since we have none, we'll move over to new business and the city manager's report.
Okay, item G1, 2021 audit presentation. Mayor and council, representatives from Plant Moran are in attendance to present the 2021 audit report. The audit report and related materials have been provided to you under separate cover. It is recommended after the demonstration that these be received and filed.
Good evening. My name name is Ali Hijazi. I'm a audit principal with Plant Moran, and with me is Ashley Radin. She's the audit manager serving the city of Harper Woods. We're really glad to be here to present the 2021 audit results. Dave Harrington, the partner on the account you normally see here each year, he did have a conflict that he was unable to move, but he sends his regards. So we're here to present the results of the audit for the city's 12/31/2021 financial statements. Our audit process starts right around year end, and we do the bulk of the work between the months of April and June, working with the city's finance team. And before we get into the details of our presentation, I want to take this time to thank the finance team and all the city department heads that we work with. It's a lot of additional time needed to respond to our many requests to make sure we do a thorough audit, and everyone that we work with is very responsive and professional, and we really appreciate it. It really makes our job a lot easier, so thank you for that. In your materials, we have two deliverables. We have the thicker document, which is the financial statements, which includes our audit opinion, and then we have a separate letter, a 3 or 4 page letter that communicates the results of our audit. And our plan today is to cover, instead of going through this 60 or 70 page document, we boiled down the financial highlights to a slide presentation that we'll walk through to cover the highlights, and are happy to take any questions as we go or at the conclusion of our presentation. But I get the pleasure of actually sharing with you the opinion that we've rendered on these financial statements. So we have actually provided what we call an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that we can issue on a set of financial statements. That means that the financial statements in front of you are properly reported in accordance with all the accounting rules. It includes all the required disclosures. These numbers can be relied upon by you as counsel for your decision-making processes. So that's what you want to see from your auditors, a clean opinion, and we're happy to report that once again this year. So we'll go through the financial highlights, and then, again, happy to take any questions at any point during the presentation or at the conclusion. Ashley?
All right, I do have the presentation up here, so I'll just kind of go through these slides. Council, you should all have a packet of that as well, so if it's easier to look there, feel free. All right. As Ali mentioned, this will just be the financial overview, like highlights of the 2021 financial statements. So this first slide here breaks out the general fund revenue, expenditures, and unassigned fund balance in the general fund over the last 3 years. The red bar represents revenue, the blue bar would be the expenditures, and then the gray bar there would be any other financing sources or uses. A little hard to read there, but the revenue in 2021 for the general fund was about 12.7 million, and the expenditures were about 12.5 million. Down at the bottom, you can see that the unassigned fund balance there is about 2 million, which is consistent with where it was last year and up from where it was 2 years ago. The largest contributing factor to the unassigned fund balance is the city's Public Act 33 millage. So that's your public safety millage that you have. This millage really allows the city to cover costs as well as remain some unassigned fund balance to help cover future costs. City administration has been diligent about the city's expenditures and prioritizing projects. The Public Act 33 millage is critical in stabilizing the economics and financial situation of the city. In general, the unassigned fund balance is about 15% of your total expenditures in the general fund. Most communities aim for 20% long-term, so that would be a good long-term goal for the fund. And then this second slide here, this is just a chart of the general fund revenue by source. You'll see the biggest source is property taxes, and then the second biggest source would be your intergovernmental revenue, so that would be things like state shared revenue or grant funding. The one thing we wanted to point out here is that the two main sources of revenue for the city really are, or for the general fund, really are from streams that aren't necessarily in full control of the city, being that they're from the property taxes that are set by the millages and grant funding that could fluctuate from year to year. So this further just kind of demonstrates the importance of the Act 33 millage, since only 15% of the revenue really is from outside sources other than property taxes and intergovernmental. This slide here is similar to the last one, except it breaks out the general fund expenditures by activity. So as this shows, the majority of the expenditures are for public safety costs as well as employee and retiree fringe benefits. Together, they make up about 80% of the general fund's expenditures for the year. And then up at the top, you can kind of see where they have the capital outlay, which was less than 1% of general fund expenditures in the year. Over time, the city will have to invest in more capital than it has in recent years. However, as the city has limited their spending in order to maintain that positive fund balance, this could be helpful in providing for some of the capital outlay costs that are likely to occur in the future. And just keeping in mind that the public safety and fringe benefit costs, they do leave little room to invest in infrastructure, roads, and other projects the city may have. And then this slide is our last slide on the general fund. It provides a breakout of its fund balance over the past 3 years. Non-spendable fund balance at December 31st, 2021 was about $105,000, which is consistent with the prior 2 years. This really just consists of your inventory and prepaid balances. And then unassigned fund balances makes up the rest of it, which is that $2 million like we talked about, which is really just the amount that the city has available to fund its general needs. And then this slide breaks out the water and sewer fund net position over the last 3 years. The unrestricted net deficit, as you'll see, is slowly shrinking. It went from about $6.3 million in 2019 to $5.3 million in 2020 to $4.8 million. So it is getting smaller, which is obviously something that's been a positive for the city. So while it is trending in a better direction, it's important to keep that in mind, and there's still a way to go to get that deficit down to help with the costs associated with replacing and maintaining the water and sewer infrastructure going forward. All right, and then this last slide here, I'll pass it back to Ali to cover the pension OPEB.
Thanks, Ashley. So after covering 2 of the city's major funds, the general fund obviously, and then the water and sewer fund, we always like to close with this slide because certain liabilities that the city has aren't reported in the general fund, although the general fund obviously pays for a big portion of it, which is the city's net pension and net OPEB liabilities. So on this chart, the first column you can see is the 2020 net liabilities related to pension and OPEB for services that have already been rendered, and the second column is the 2021 balances. So on the first line, you can see the net pension liability, which decreased from $31.8 million dollars to about $30.8 million. So about a $1 million reduction in the net pension liability. And that was mostly driven by, on the one hand, there was a really good investment year, and those investments that are held over at MERS. But on the other hand, the mortality assumption for the members was updated, which increased the liability as actuaries did their job and said, people are living longer, so you may have to pay these benefits out over a longer period of time. So between those 2 factors balancing one another, the liability did go down. The city continues to make the required contributions that MERS provides. So as long as that contribution continues to be made over time, you should see the liability go down, but it's a really 20 or 30 year time horizon that we're talking about to address this unfunded liability. On the net OPEB liability, so that decreased from about $35.9 million to about $31.3 million. So on the OPEB, that's quite a substantial reduction in the net OPEB liability. The city currently is not putting any funds aside in a trust to fund those benefits. You're just paying the claims as they come. But one of the things that actuaries do is they assume, that funding is going to come from the general fund, which can be invested in CDs and money market investments. So because of the inflationary environment we're in, interest rates are higher, so therefore reduces the liability. So this is really just a factor of a rate change, as opposed to anything significantly different that the city is doing and what's driving that liability to decrease. So I know that there have been additional plan changes that have been implemented over the last couple of years, which is also causing this liability to go down. So overall positive trends The total net pension OPEB liability is about $67.7 million down to $62.1 million. This is a very common challenge for communities all across Southeast Michigan in terms of funding unfunded liability, but the city does have a plan that it's been executing over the last several years to contain to kind of cap the growth of that liability, and then also get a plan to slowly whittle it down. But again, it's something that you've got to remain persistent, so credit to management and this council and previous councils for taking the steps that you've taken, and hopefully over time we can continue to see those liabilities decrease. So that brings us to the end of the our comments on the financial statements. Happy to take any questions there, or if you have questions on our letter of internal control items, we're happy to discuss those as well.
Could you explain one more time the net pension liability?
Sure. So the city has obviously liability for pension benefits that have been earned. And so every year the city sends money over to MERS of Michigan. MERS invests that money until it comes time where those funds have to be paid for benefits. Every year an actuary revalues that liability. So if I'm a member in that plan, they kind of project out what will the city have to pay me over time. And so the net is the difference between how much you've set aside and how much you may owe for services that have been rendered. The number on the slide, the $30.8 million, means the city is going to have to pay out that much more than assets that have been set aside. So that's the unfunded liability.
Thank you.
Mayor? Yeah, I had a question about page 4.
Okay.
There's the general fund balance slide. On 2019, you have a blue section called assigned.
Yes.
And on the other two, 2020 and 2021, there's no blue section. So I just wonder, what was the assigned? What does that mean?
Yeah, assigned would be if there is that fund balance is earmarked for some specific purpose, then it goes into another category called assigned. So for example, I don't know off the top of my head exactly what that assignment was for, but it could be if the city were to use some of its fund balance to balance a future budget, that would be assigned fund balance because we've already kind of designated what you're going to spend it for. Whereas unassigned is, for lack of a better term, your rainy day fund.
Madam Mayor? I know, I was a bit concerned. I spoke to our auditors here about 2 items that were mentioned in the internal controls as material weaknesses. And I was assured that there is nothing that was not reconciled. But my curiosity is what should be in place. And so, I'm assuming our acting city manager and our treasurer are aware of whatever controls they need to put in place to prevent any kind of malfeasance.
Right.
And is there something that, that we would need to go outside of Harper Woods in order to accomplish? Or is this something that we can do within?
Yeah, sure. No, that's a great question. So, at the city, which is not an uncommon issue for local governments, as the number of staff has decreased, it's become more challenging to segregate duties that would be deemed kind of incompatible. So you might not want one person to have the ability to do too much. So communities have to get really strategic around how to segregate those duties to prevent any one person from having too much access. And that's also to the benefit of your employees, right? Because you don't want any employees that feel like they have that responsibility of too much access. So there are some of those situations, particularly as it relates to the IT system, where you have a couple of people that have administrative access to the system. And so that would not be a best practice to have folks that are in finance or can access the general ledger to have that kind of access. And we have shared that with management and talked about some ideas to address that issue. And then the other issue is, During our audit, we did identify that some bank reconciliations were not performed timely. They were ultimately performed, but not in that window where we consider it to be a best practice, which is usually 30 to 45 days after month end. Sometimes that can be the fact that, it just doesn't get gotten too timely because things pop up. But again, it creates an opportunity for there to be something improper occurring that isn't detected timely. So again, doing those reconciliations timely, limiting access as much as possible without preventing people from being able to do their jobs is really important. I don't think the city needs to go outside to address those issues, but it certainly makes sense to revisit those in detail and say, are there any changes we can make to our system to prevent this opportunity from existing, even though we didn't identify any issues in the audit?
And then once again, you did just mention that there was nothing that you saw that made you feel as if there was a danger, that is, that nothing was happening that was untoward.
Correct. When we see the access, we'll say, did anything occur because this opportunity exists? We did that testing, we didn't identify anything.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any further questions? Any further discussion? I need a motion to accept this report.
Madam Mayor, I'll offer the motion to receive and file the 2021 audit financial report as submitted by the city's auditor, Plant & Moran, and also to receive and file their management report.
Support.
Support by Councilwoman Pies. So, is there any further discussion since we've already, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And congrats, Leslie.
Item G2, Citizen Lab software proposal. Mayor and council, attached is a quote from Citizen Lab software for license and implementation fees in the amount of $7,800. The purpose of this software is to provide public engagement of Harper Woods projects, including budgeting, in an easy-to-reach media platform that will be accessible through the city's website. The city will be able to collect the latest ideas, receive feedback, gauge support, and organize participatory workshops all in one place. Rumors that start from errant Facebook postings can be quickly dispelled. The software features identity verification features, so no comments can be made without a person properly identifying themselves. Community groups can be engaged, and residents can see the work in progress status of any project from start to finish and stay on top of what is happening in Harper Woods. A representative will be present from Citizen Lab to answer any questions that you may have. It is my recommendation that we move forward with this and that ARPA funds will be used for this.
Hi everybody, my name is Dan Keating. Thanks for having me, counselors. I'm obviously from Citizen Lab. I've been in public participation for about 6 years now, and I just recently jumped on with Citizen Lab to help their expansion into the North American markets, not only Canada but the US. I'm based out of Toronto, which is a lot closer than I thought. I'm really down here, which is really nice. But yeah, here to give you a little tour of what Citizen Lab is, and then answer any questions you may have. It's worth knowing why this company was started. We have a 32-year-old CEO who's actually younger than me, and he started it for one simple reason, was he was sick and tired of having limited reach to residents, nobody showing up at town hall meetings, and everybody showing up on Facebook. He said there has to be a better way to engage the community more effectively. Governments are doing good work, and oftentimes it's hard to not only inform residents, but better reach them. The whole idea of Citizen Lab, and I've got some stuff up on the screen, but if you want to watch me talk, that's cool as well. The whole idea of Citizen Lab is creating a more inclusive government. We want to involve people that may not be able to make it out to a town hall meeting. Not everyone here made it out, but there is a lot more people at Harper Woods that probably weren't able to get to this meeting. Myself, I have a 4-month-old son. I'm not going to any town hall meetings anytime soon. I'm busy. So what we want to do is create an inclusive online experience for those people that can't attend. We want to be more continuous with engagement, and we want to help you be more strategic with engagement. The other thing that I want everybody to know is that you may not get a lot of people out at town hall meetings, you may not get a lot of surveys filled out, but residents do want to be heard. And it's about creating a better space to help shape decision making. We want to help governments not be so reactive, meaning seeing something come in. And we want to help educate the community better in online space with factual information that is coming from the government. Now, one thing I wanted to show right here is, even though you're a smaller community, no matter what organization that works with Citizen Lab has access to a full toolbox of tools. So mostly, probably everybody in this room has only been to either a town hall meeting or filled out a survey. There's a lot more things that we can do now as governments. We can run open discussion forums in the online space. We can run interactive mapping around Harper Woods and understand where there are accessibility challenges. We can do online workshops, ideation, and even more importantly, just information sharing in a safe space. Now, it's going to be tough for everybody to see this, but what I'll do is I'll give you a walkthrough of what this looks like for a resident that is working with, or for a city that's working with Citizen Lab. So if I pull up your current corporate site, the only thing that would change on your website is this. I'm going to zoom in so everybody can see. You have one little small space that says either engage Harper Woods, have your say Harper Woods, let's talk Harper Woods. I don't care what you call it, but make sure it's clear that this is where you want your community to talk. Now, when someone clicks this, you'll notice that this looks much different than a corporate site. This is built around being extremely accessible for people no matter what literacy level you are. It doesn't matter if you went to college, it doesn't matter if you only went to 7th grade like my mother. This site is designed to use rich media, minimal wording, and make it simple for me to see what your team is doing. Now, if you look at the city of Lancaster within 10 seconds, I can see that they're doing a neighborhood pride survey. I can see that they're doing a strategic plan around the future of Lancaster. I can see that they have Vision Zero consultations set up in little communities around the community. And more importantly, I can even see how they're using ARPA funding and actually asking for the community's input on where ARPA funding should be spent. So this is what the first point of this is, that all of the projects, all the initiatives go in one spot. Right away you'll see an amazing increase. The second thing is that when someone goes to sign up on the engagement site, is that you get to pick what questions you ask. So it's not a huge community here, maybe zip code's not important, but maybe you want to know business owners, maybe you want to know what town, what area of town you live in. This is all going to help bring more data to council, bring more data to management, so you can ask whatever questions you want. And then the last thing I want to show here is that you can engage in fun and interactive ways. So every single page here, a couple things. Quick story, what are we doing? This is a mobility project. This is why we brought you here. You'll notice how they did all of this in one paragraph. I absolutely love that. And then down here, we can guide users along the journey and give them a space to help improve mobility around the town. So when you scroll down here, you can see that there's roughly over 100 pages on how the community can better improve accessibility in this area. And this is an instance of a user or a community member posting a photo talking about how every morning at 8 a.m. this median is causing traffic for them to take their kids to school. And not only that, if we scroll down, we can see that other community members are actually diving in and supporting these comments. And this is going above and beyond what the actual city has responded to these comments. So the whole idea of this is taking all of that engagement that normally happens on social media like Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all this thing, all the places that people are talking, and bringing them to a safe and moderated space where they can give you feedback about projects they care about. On top of that, everybody, is that all projects come with the ability to have a timeline. Everybody that's in this room knows that government probably doesn't move as fast as we want to sometimes. It's important that if your project is going to be a 2-year project, that we can guide the community along the process that we took to show them that we are being transparent on our decision making. Here's what we have done, but more importantly, here's where we're going. So there's a whole different amount of projects that you can engage on. Some of the most popular ones are ARPA, backyard chicken coops, legalizing cannabis, you name it, I've probably run a project on it, but I just want to show this amazing one coming out of Lancaster related to ARPA spending, where instead of running a survey, they actually ask the community to dive in and give their feedback on where they think we the number one idea was actually behavioral health and crisis treatment, followed up by affordable housing. So this is not only going to just help you make decisions, it's going to help you guide in the right direction. Step 2 of this would be to take these priorities to council and then use this as well as other means of engagement. So one thing I'll say to everybody in the room that showed up, this doesn't replace what we're doing here. This is the best kind of engagement you can do with somebody face to face. But what this will do is help educate others that can't get to town hall meetings or give them an accessible space to talk about projects when they want to engage in making commitment. I want to highlight this project as well. I've never seen a project that got over 600 people discussing about pickleball courts versus tennis courts. So sometimes projects are contentious, and it may not be appropriate to open up a town hall meeting. It might be better to just dip your toes in the water in the online space. And I do want to mention that you do not always have to have a discussion. You can maybe just launch a project that just simply informs the community about what's going on. And then I just want to highlight this before I end, because I'm sure I need to. We have lots of small communities. We work with Struthers, Ohio. We work with many other populations of under 15,000, but everybody gets the same access to the back-end analytics that will help you drive decisions. So after a year or so of using the platform, you can start to see how many community members are registered, how many people are participating, what neighborhood are they from. And for any of the counselors that were curious how this would affect your work or what benefit this does for you, this is a listening tool for you, right? This is to better drive your decision making, but we did have a client that just launched an actual City Council Connects, where all of the city meetings and all of the past resources are driven and shown right here. This isn't a space for you to go vote or do any type of that, but what it does is it shows the work that you're putting in on a daily basis and shares that back with the community, which is really nice. So you can see there, they've got their city council meetings advertised right there. But let me stop right there, and I'm happy to answer any questions from anybody that has questions.
I have a question. A lot of times you mentioned this as the social media, the kind of active social media, things going out there and everybody commenting and we don't even know about it. Anyway, on those social media type things, every now and then when something is posted, we get a little notice. Does this have any way of, once we register on this, of like saying, oh, it was a new message here or a new something here? Do we have any kind of pop-ups like that? Or?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. So anybody that registers for the platform not only gets notifications when new projects come up, but they can actually be segregated into groups based on their project interests. So if I'm an avid pickleball player and you go through that project and then you launch a Parks and Rec project next year, we can re-engage. And the interesting thing about that is anybody that's done budgeting consultations, it is like pulling teeth to get people out. But if you do a budgeting consultation, you can pull that user group from the last year and re-engage them on this year's budget. On top of that, you can sign up for notifications via email, and we also have SMS in this platform as well too.
Anything? What about training, or is it, or you just kind of pick it up like we do Facebook, anything like that?
Nope. So the city staff will be designated a government expert, someone way above my pay grade. So her name's Amanda Rotella. She used to be an assistant city manager. She supports the whole team throughout onboarding, and then we have support right after that the entire time that we have our clients. So for anybody in the city that's launching projects, wants expert advice, you can bounce questions off of her, dealing with contentious issues. So absolutely, it's about 50% software company, 50% like training and support. It's worth noting that we're a certified B Corporation. In short, that just means that our founders are prioritizing being good for the world, not just based on profits. So yes, the city will not be left alone. They'll have a devoted account manager to help.
And last but not least, how many sites do you have so far?
In the U.S. or globally, we're in 18 different countries right now, which is amazing. I think we've got to be coming up on 500. I think it could be 300. We were 300 like 8 or 9 months ago. We're probably on 500. We're due to 10x our growth this year, and that's why I'm really excited to be in Harper Woods, because you'll be one of the first to launch in the area if you choose to move forward, which is really cool. It's forward thinking. We really care about the community. So.
this is cool, but it seems like it's gonna take a lot of work to maintain it, and how are we gonna keep people from putting opinions instead of facts on there? I mean, we've gotta have someone put everything on there and then maintain it and watch the comments and make sure there's nothing that is, you know, insulting or things like that, untrue. So how are those things watched, and who does that?
Good point. So we have AI moderation, no swearing, none of that bad stuff can't happen. Probably not used to that on Facebook and other tools, but nobody can swear on this. We also have moderations in place for spam and all that good stuff. That's all auditable. In terms of workload for the government, you have to show up with content and images, and a lot of the stuff you're already doing. So those reports that you're putting out, the calls to action, the only thing we're doing is we're putting it into a more accessible space. On top of that, we have some things that help speed up work, like project templates, we have some live photos, lots of stuff like that. But in terms of workload for the government, you don't need to worry about the bad stuff that you see on social media. Now, I do want to mention that you are in complete control. When I say you, I mean whoever's designing the project. So let's say I'm doing a pickleball court consultation, and I see on Facebook that it is crazy. People are going nuts about it. It may not be smart, and we will advise this, to launch a discussion forum right off the bat. Maybe we launch a survey first to see what happens. Do the phase that out. Maybe you want to do a focus group after through workshops and really start to understand the pain points of everybody. Then maybe when you understand the pain points, then maybe we have a discussion forum once we get everybody more managed. But in terms of workload, most of the content you're already producing for your projects. It's about putting it into a space like this. And we do have some efficiencies.
So would this replace our city newsletter? Because, I mean, once we run out of the ARPA funds to get it started, I'm sure we're still gonna have management fees ongoing. And the little money that we have for our city newsletters, I mean, would that go toward this? Or how would we manage to continue to support this going forward after we run out of the ARPA funds?
So the whole total is not renewable. It is a subscription fee that's renewable. We'll let everybody speak to that after. In terms of support, I would hope that it's such a big success that you're going to want to keep using the tool. In terms of replacing your newsletter, I would say it complements it, but we do have a built-in newsletter in the system as well. That's what I mentioned.
That could maybe save us some money.
That's the idea for small communities. When you can get this thing moving on maybe 5 or 6 projects, divide that by the annual cost, it's significant, right?
Yeah, it seems to me like it's a little bit more of a living thing and more up to date. You know, where we might have something that goes out, but by the time it's printed, it's already old news.
And that's what we want to do, is not be reactive, right? So one thing you can do is actually start a project up. Like if you started this tomorrow, there's nothing stopping you from just having registered here. We're launching an online engagement platform. We're going to keep you all involved. And then the other thing too is information sharing. I'm not going to comment on the city website or anything like that, but I think everybody agrees that if there's a space that you can share factual information, it would really benefit this community, where they know where to go, even if you're not getting feedback, right? Maybe just, hey, we heard a rumor around town about something, here's what we're doing here. I've even seen cities launch, it gets so bad in other areas, a fact or fiction project where people can go on and they can ask any question they want. The city will respond, and we can set parameters. We'll respond in 5 to 6 business days, give us some time. And then it goes up public after to show the answer. So there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with this. Am I advising that off the bat? No, but yes, we want to demonstrate transparency as a government, right?
When I get really chaotic, ask about rats or garbage. That's going to be really contentious.
Yes, I have to say, when I read my minutes and I saw your name, I went online to check you out. And you have a lot of very, very positive feedback. You're the #1 recommended online organization for communities. I thought that was pretty impressive. I'm also impressed with what you've told us today. I think Councilwoman Costantino was kind of getting at this. I'm curious, Stephen, will you be the one that is kind of our liaison here to Citizen Lab? Will you be the person that the city is going to be using in terms of putting content on more directly? Or is that going to be every department has somebody that's going to be responsible for.
That's the beauty of it, is that it is straightforward enough, and like Dan just said, that it's plug and play, is that I will probably contribute to most projects, but by no means am I the sole admin. Maria probably has several things in mind. This last couple of weeks that we were talking about it. The library has projects that can go on there. It's such a great resource that it is open to. And I think John's goal is to really see Parks and Rec will have projects that they'll be able to facilitate. So I will be the point, and probably with their customer service account types of questions, we'll probably compile them, and I'll probably be the one that goes to Dan or to Amanda with those questions. But the great thing is that all of us will be able to use that.
I guess my curiosity, the reason I ask is that I'm on Facebook. There are some groups on Facebook that I'm not allowed to be in
Sure.
because I tend to correct what's being said.
Right.
There are other groups on Facebook that make a very strong point of trying to get the facts out there first. And so there's a lot of stuff that's flying around, and justifiably, the idea here is to cut out that, the hearsay. And so, like if there are questions that are concerning police action or concerning what's going on, we will have the opportunity to actually jump in and notice that. Is it going to come to the attention of appropriate departments?
So the public safety should certainly has been notified of this program, and they will certainly get on to putting those types of things together.
Okay.
For sure. The one thing I'm going to, just as an example, is there's a Facebook group, and I'm not in a resident Facebook group because I'm not a resident here, but there's a Historical Detroit Area Architecture Group, and someone posted the site plan that North Point first developed that had the truck bays on the front of it, and all. This was only about a month ago. And I said, actually, I work for the city of Harper Woods, here's the current one. And it was just a link to a PDF that I had uploaded to our city website. But I don't have the resources on that website to put a narrative or to put a link to North Point or anything like that, just for usability. And that would have just been a really simple thing to actually here, check out this information and click to that to the Citizen Hub platform, which could show then all kinds of information. In fact, Eastland might be one of the first ones. So a lot of all the information's kind of already there. So it's just a matter of plug it into their template, and then we have this information to share.
Okay.
It's
Thank
worth-
you.
It is worth mentioning that during the training process, Amanda goes through the blueprint with the city. She says, do we have one person working with us, or do we have 25, like at the city of Seattle? So that's part of our responsibilities and roles is mapping out a blueprint of how this would work. And it is also worth saying that you can have a verified city, city administrator like Stephen. His account is verified to answer questions on the platform as well, which is very helpful as well. But I don't want to say you get to pick your expectations. If you want that community to ask questions, just be clear. We're going to get back to you in 2 to 5 business days or something like that, just so they understand that it's not 24/7 answering, right? So.
Councilwoman Williams.
And yeah, that's one of the questions that I was concerned about, is whether the city would have to have a specific person along with your city lab people who's assigned to monitor this. Like Councilwoman Sawicki said, we get a lot of opinions on Facebook, and I'm sure there would be a lot of opinions that would arise on the city lab system, or whether we would need a person assigned from the city to directly work with city lab who would be responsible for helping to monitor that system.
As long as you have a key point of contact that's raised their hand to manage the platform, they'll be completely fine. The thing that I try to be extremely clear about is set expectations with the community, right? So I have clients that will run a discussion forum for almost 3 to 4 months before even looking at the comments. And they choose to look at it at the end and go through and do all the sentiment analysis and all that good stuff. I have other clients that set a timer for every Tuesday and Friday, or every Friday at 2, and they go through and they read the comments. Now, all I would encourage is if you're going to respond to them or not, just be clear about that. And you are in control. It's tough when I come up here and I show mapping and discussion forums. It doesn't always need to be like that. So, for example, Stephen's example would not actually be any discussion forum or anything. This project's done. actually, but here's the correct information for it. And this is a great link or platform to also share on Facebook to get more people over here. And I think it's about setting expectations up front, and you'll be completely fine.
And then I have one more question. And I was thinking also, you know, the North Point project that we're doing with Eastland, it would be great, you know, if we had something set up like that so people can see the progress as it goes along. And also for like Beaconsfield, we're going to be working on construction on the roads so they can see, you know, when to start and you know, how it's going along.
That's on the working list for sure.
So my second question though was, you said the Harper Woods would be, if we undertake this, would be one of the first groups in this area. So what other states or what other cities in the state is using this?
In the state,
Yeah, because you said Harper
First
Woods
one
in
in
this
Michigan.
area, so
you're the
we'll be
first.
first ones in Michigan.
Absolutely. I've been doing this for 7 years, and Michigan is, there's other states like out west is very, we have a lot of clients in Oregon, California, Washington, but Michigan is kind of my first attempt to come here, and Citizen Lab has made it a little bit of a priority right now, especially with a manager living apparently 2.5 hours. I got here 2.5 hours, so I will be in the area making this area a priority because there are a lot of cities that have a culture of, I call it a culture of engagement, but no tools to support it. So you'd be the first in Michigan, Citizen Lab. But I'm happy to send a list of all the other U.S. cities and states using it afterwards for sure.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Is this accessible for screen readers?
Good job. Good question. Sorry. Good question. Yeah. So
I didn't hear the question.
What's that?
What was the question?
Is this accessible for screen readers? So we are WK. This is how you say it, like WK 2.1 level AA compliant, and we are always trying to meet more accessibility needs. You can put a screen reader actually on the platform, or yes, it is compliant with screen readers for other people that want to use that.
Okay, thank you. And I'm still a little confused. So if we want to, the analytics, then would that be our responsibility to come up, or do you do the
Most of the
analytics?
stuff is automated, so things like we'll be having project-based reports, just like seeing. You can think about a few things at a council meeting of what you would want to see. You can get that just basically with one click. How many people are engaged on that project? How many people went to the project page? Things like that. For anything like open feedback, we have tools and automations to help Stephen's team and go through that and speed that process up. But that is all done through the platform, and also everything can be exported raw data if the city ever wanted to do analytics. We also have an in-house analyst as well.
Okay, and then, so let's say Mr. Lindley wants to put something up. Does he actually put it up, or does he contact you and then you put it up?
All self-serve, unless you want to pay us to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so then, is there ongoing training then also for this?
Yep, so our training is European style training, which is over the top. So a lot of US clients go through training, especially in a couple training sessions, and they're like, yeah, we're good, leave us alone. We actually want to meet with you close to 4 to 6 times before the site goes live. And then we want to do quarterly check-ins as well. And our whole kind of goal is to improve year over year. So if you get 300 registered users on it the first year. Let's try to get to 400 the next year, 500 the next year. And also maybe archive all those projects in an accessible space. So it's about a moving target of improving. So yes, we support the entire process.
So a person then would need to register to have access to leave comments.
No. So everything is public. So anybody in the room can go to any site right now. You can see everything that's happened. But if you want to engage, you can activate a registration policy, which you're in control. Some cities will make it very simple. First name, last name, email address, we don't really need anything else. Others will ask what area of town you are, blah, blah, blah. Other cities will activate an actual ID verification. It doesn't matter, but the idea is that registering builds that community out. And there are tools that you can turn off unregistered participation, mainly a survey. So if you're going to ask those questions anyway, and you just want to collect feedback, you can run a survey.
there a set capacity? Like, let's say we've got like 15 projects going, we could put them all up and
All good
that
to
would be
go.
it?
There's no limit on projects or anything.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, y'all need a resolution?
Madam Mayor? I'll offer the resolution to approve the proposal submitted by Citizen Lab for a 12-month software license and one-time implementation fee for community engagement software, and further to authorize the acting city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the city of Harper Woods.
Support. Support. We've had discussion, so roll call vote, please.
Oh, have we had discussion amongst each other though?
Excuse me?
Amongst each other, discussion?
We've had discussion. Is there any further discussion?
I was wondering if we were going to have discussion amongst each other.
With what?
Never mind.
I mean, okay. Is there any further discussion?
I have one question, but is this fee we have here, was it gonna be the same every year? I'm not sure what that fee is.
The $6,000 license
Yeah.
fee.
Am I going to answer that?
Sure.
The implementation fee is one time. So the renewing rate is the large one.
Okay.
Are there any further discussion? Can we have a roll call vote, Mrs. Frank?
Councilman Jenny,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G3, City Hall air conditioning repair proposal. Mayor and council attaches a memorandum from the Superintendent of Public Works submitting a proposal to repair the City Hall air conditioning system. As his memo states, due to the age of the chiller system that is currently in place, we are past the ability to make minor repairs to keep it going with the high demand that is placed on it. Several quotes were solicited, and the company that has provided us with minor repairs in the past submitted a proposal for the repairs necessary to maintain the system, as we are currently running at half capacity. I have reviewed this with Mr. Schneider, and it is recommended that the quote submitted be approved and to have the repairs commence as soon as possible. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Councilman Tucson.
by resolution to approve the quote submitted by K&S Ventures in the amount of $9,390 for the repair of the City Hall air conditioning system, and further to authorize the acting city manager to sign the proposal.
Support.
Discussion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'm wondering what the cost would be for a totally new one.
Probably significantly higher. Yeah, with duct work and everything else, it's cheaper to do it this way, and should this system malfunction, we would be without air conditioning, including this room. So,
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
There's one thing I was confused about, and it was just the wording. It seems to me that $9,390 is not a lot of money to spend to redo the air conditioning in this facility. But this acting city manager had mentioned that we are running at half capacity and that we're going to be maintaining the structure. I assume we're not going to be continuing to run at half capacity. We're not maintaining half capacity, correct? We're going to be improving the system.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that we're at full capacity?
that's correct.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for that
Any
clarification.
further discussion?
Madam Mayor, this is just more of a point of order, a clarification. Our consent agenda, we're supposed to have things that are just regular expenses or things that are under 5,000. And then on our new business, this is rightfully placed because it's more than 5,000. However, I see some things that kind of parallel the same ideas like turf and timber, different things that we're gonna, I think looking to the future, we're gonna have to make a decision as to, whether things belong on the consent agenda or on the new business. Because at this time, we're only supposed to have things under $5,000 in regular monthly expenditures on the consent agenda. So, I mean, perhaps maybe at some point we should change that to $10,000 because of inflation, and then something like this could go in the consent agenda because it's a repair proposal, it's not new mechanical. It's something to think about, but it's something that this has been a little bit foggy for a while now, that we need to really set some criteria for this, or stick to the original criteria. No, this is in the right place. It is, but there are things on the consent agenda that should probably be in new business according to our current criteria.
We can look at that in the future of raising the ceiling here because of inflation. I'm sure everything is gonna be going up.
Yeah,
within the
because,
next
I
year or
mean,
two.
you have a whole bunch of stuff that's
Yeah.
between $5,000 and $10,000. I mean, and it's not necessary for us to nitpick everything you guys do for small expenditures. We do like to know what's going on, and we do appreciate that there's been, that it's been costed out, there's been some proposals and things like that. We do appreciate the work that has been done, but I'm just saying, as an overall comment for the future, we need to get this straightened out because it's not organized the way that it's intended to be organized currently.
Madam Mayor, may I clarify this? Just for, I know that anything over $5,000 could not be in the accounts payable listing, but it does appear in the consent agenda if it's a reoccurring, thing, or that we've
Right.
seen before.
Right,
This
if
is
it's
brand new
recurring.
to
Right.
the city, so we
Right.
have not seen anything like this done before. And
But
so
there-
that's why it's under new business.
I agree with it, and I think it's in the right place, but there are a couple of things on the consent agenda that also belong under new business. So I'm just making this a point of order because we need to adhere to whatever we decide for the future. But this could
Okay.
be, if we went to 10,000, this could be something that we would go to the consent agenda.
All right, we'll just move right along, take that as a point, and acting city manager said he would get this in order for you. All right, is there any further discussion on the air conditioning repair?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, my only question is, I see that this 9,390 is just for repair the air conditioning system as is. So if it needs further repair, there's going to be an additional cost. There's not a warranty or anything that comes with this.
No, they just warranty the repair, but this is a system that's on continuously. It could possibly break down in another area. Just take it on a case-by-case
That would
basis.
just be
Yeah.
an additional cost if it breaks down again.
Any further discussion? All right, roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes,
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino,
Yes?
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G4, Danbury Lane improvements. Mayor and council, this item and the next item are for the reconstruction of Danbury Lane, along with the storm sewer repairs that are already proposed to be made by Great Lakes Contracting Solutions. Additional work to the sewer and pavement reconstruction will be necessary. The concrete pavement repair project has already been bid, and the contractor, Al Anthony Construction, has agreed to add the work on Danbury Lane to the existing contract with a change order. They have stated that they would honor the current pricing, but ask that there be an increase from $51 to $68 a square yard for 8-inch concrete repair due to an increase in materials and an increase in 6-inch driveway replacement from $44 to $50 a square yard. A cost summary has been included with this item for your review. it is recommended that the contract with L. Anthony Construction be extended to include Danbury Lane. Mayor, a resolution is required.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution. A resolution to approve the change order from L. Anthony Construction in the amount of $405,355 for the inclusion of Danbury Lane concrete replacement, sidewalk and driveway approaches, curb and gutter replacement, and further to authorize the acting city manager to sign the change order.
Support.
Support for Councilwoman Pies. Any discussions?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to just update for our residents what the total cost is going to be with the change order and the original cost.
I brought Ryan here, the engineer from
Right.
AEW, who's working on the project. Ryan, could you please shed some light?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ryan Kern with Anderson Eckstein and Westrick. Are you asking the combination of the current concrete pavement repair? I don't recall what the concrete pavement repair was awarded. I want to say it was around $75,000 to $100,000, and then this project on top of that. So you're looking at around a $500,000 project with the concrete pavement repair program.
Is that all just for Danbury Lane, or is that
The
spread out?
$405,000 for Danbury Lane, and the rest would be sporadic locations throughout the city.
Okay,
And that's based upon utility, water main breaks and sewer repairs that have taken place over the past year.
okay. Appreciate that, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Questions? Oh,
Real quick, I know these price changes aren't bad. We've seen this across the board everywhere, every city, so actually not a bad deal. And Al Anthony's a good contractor.
I would say I have recently seen unit pricing higher than that on other projects. Yeah, it's still not a bad deal.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Mayor
Thank
Pro
you,
Tem
Ryan.
Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes?
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino,
Yes,
Councilman Jenny,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G5, award of bid 2022 sewer rehabilitation, full-length CIPP lining number 180-284. Mayor and council, this item is for the sewer rehabilitation on Danbury Lane. It was determined through the sewer cleaning and televising work recently done that there are several locations of sewer pipe with cracks and interior surface deterioration that has been noted as well. Bids were recently received in conjunction with Grosse Pointe Woods and are attached here for your review. As was stated by our engineers in the previous item's correspondence, the installation of the CIPP lining will address the issues found and will run the entire length of Danbury Lane. I have reviewed this with the engineers, and it is my recommendation that this bid be awarded to the lowest bid submitted. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Pies.
I will offer by resolution to award the bid to Instituform, thank you, Technologies USA, Inc., in the amount of $138,693.70 for the installation of full-length CIPP lining in conjunction with the Danbury Lane concrete replacement project.
Support.
Any discussion? Seeing none? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks?
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes?
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
yes,
Councilman Jenny,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G6, proposal for rate increase for engineering services, Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick, Inc. Mayor and council, our engineering firm, AEW, Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick, Inc., is requesting an increase in rates that matches the 2021 Detroit Metropolitan Area Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. The amount of the increase is 5%, and it would be effective starting July 1st, 2022. Considering the long-term outstanding service provided to our community and their reasonable approach to rate increases, I request that we authorize the rate increase as proposed on the attached hourly change rate sheet. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Councilwoman Williams.
I offer the resolution. A resolution to accept the 5% rate increase proposal dated February 2, 2022 from engineering firm Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick, Inc., effective July 1st, 2022.
Support.
Support Councilwoman Pies. Discussion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
this is retro dated. It says July 1st, 2022,
Yes.
and we're in August.
Yes.
When was the initial date of request?
You want to answer?
Right.
The original correspondence was sent in February 2nd of 2022.
Okay,
And we typically come in front of council, usually towards the beginning of the year, every year, asking for a rate increase to our engineering contract that goes into effect on July 1st of every year to June 30th of the next.
and why was this delayed all the way till August after the
That, I'm
fact?
not sure. I don't have an answer on that, on why it was delayed.
Madam Mayor,
Yeah.
I don't believe it was delayed. I believe,
right,
I believe
I think
seeing this
This is the
early,
second-
early
yeah.
spring, it came before us.
It came before us once before.
It was, what came before us, as I recall, was something that would say a percentage per year.
Right.
So that's what I recall from this.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Mrs. Frank?
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes?
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes,
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G7, Memorandum of Understanding, Command Officers Association of Michigan, COAM Retention Bonus. Mayor and Council, attached is a tentative memorandum of understanding between the City of Harper Woods and the Command Officers Association of Michigan, COAM Union, for the purpose of retaining public safety officers. Currently, local city governments are paying signing bonuses up to $25,000 per individual officers. Our city has lost many officers within this last year alone. This staff shortage is creating scheduling conflicts with our officers that jeopardize our mutual aid agreements with the surrounding communities. This memorandum addresses that issue and will help our city comply with existing community mutual aid agreements. We anticipate this will help us retain our officers as well. This memorandum of understanding, if approved by you, provides an additional annual bonus of $12,500 paid to officers that are cross-trained and an annual bonus of $2,400 paid to non-PSO personnel covered by the COAM bargaining unit until December 31st, 2023. I am also requesting a $12,500 bonus paid to our Director of Public Safety, who is also a cross-trained firefighter who is not covered by a collective bargaining agreement. All bonuses will be paid with ARPA funds and will cease December 31st, 2023. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Councilwoman Pies?
I'll offer by resolution to approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Harper Woods and the Command Officers Association of Michigan, COAM, for retention bonuses for the members of this bargaining unit with ARPA funds being used.
Support.
Support? You, okay. Councilwoman Sawicki? Any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So I understand we're doing this through COAM, but what about our regular patrol
We
officers?
already did those.
They already have their
Yes.
their
They were
bonuses?
first.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Williams?
Yeah, I was wondering about how many officers is this, effective? Is this,
About 8.
8?
Yeah,
And then 9 county directors?
that's correct.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
We have, what, you said we have 8 officers now. How many do we usually like to have?
We're adequately staffed for command
Right now.
officers.
Right.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino,
Yes.
Councilman Jenny,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G8, Milk River Operation and Maintenance, Mayor and Council. Attached is an invoice from Wayne County for operation and maintenance of the Milk River Drain for July 1st through September 30th, 2022. This is in accordance with the budget amounts set by the Drainage District. It is recommended that this payment be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
make the resolution to approve
Jennings.
payment to Wayne County in the amount of $353,263.50 for the operation and maintenance of the Milk River Drain for the period of July 1st through September 30th, 2022.
Support.
Support. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman Costantino,
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G9, Michigan Association of Planning, MAP Annual Conference. Mayor and Council, attached is a request from the Economic and Community Development Deputy Director requesting approval to attend the annual conference of the Michigan Association of Planning, MAP. I have reviewed the materials that he has submitted for this conference and agree that the sessions being provided will be relevant and beneficial to attend. The cost of the conference and overnight accommodations is reasonable and is recommended that this request be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I will offer by resolution to approve the request from the Economic and Community Development Deputy Director to attend the Michigan Association of Planning, MAP, annual conference from October 12th to 14th, 2022, with the city paying all necessary and related expenses.
Support.
Support. Is discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I noticed that Mr. Lindley says that he has a membership. Am I correct in assuming that this is a personal membership?
You just need to be signed up as a member, reduces the cost of the conference by $100.
I didn't know if you were a member, because I was going to suggest that the city pay for the membership in the future.
It's actually free. You just have to sign up.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's free.
okay, great.
Membership is free. You just need to be signed up.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilman Jenny,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pies,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki,
Yes.
Councilman Tucson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G10, Michigan Municipal League's Annual Convention. Mayor and Council, we have received the attached notice of the League's Annual Convention to be held in Muskegon, October 19th through 21st, 2022. It is customary for the City Council to authorize attendance by interested members. If there are any of you who wish to attend, please let the clerk's office know as soon as possible so that we can register you. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Fires.
I will offer by resolution to authorize those council members interested to attend the Michigan Municipal League's annual convention, October 19th through 22nd, 2022, with the city paying all necessary and related expenses.
Support.
Support from Councilman Jennings. Discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Just a point of question. In the resolution, it says October 19th to the 21st, but I believe that it was, that Councilmember Pies said the 22nd. I believe it is just to the 21st, isn't it? Okay, thank you, just that correction.
Okay, all right. No further discussions. Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilwoman Pies.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sawicki.
Yes,
Councilman Tucson.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G11, annual permit to work on state highways. Mayor and council, we are required annually to renew our permit to work on state highways. This is mostly for water and sewer repairs on Bernier Road. As part of the permit process, we need to adopt a performance and indemnification resolution, a copy of which is attached. This is a routine procedure, and it is recommended that the resolution be adopted. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilwoman Sweet.
I'll offer the motion to adopt the performance and indemnification resolution related to the city's annual permit to work on state highways for the calendar year 2022.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Okay, seeing none, then, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, item G12, second reading and adoption, ordinance number 2022-01, repeal the stormwater system ordinance. Mayor and council, at your last meeting, this ordinance was brought before you. It has been prepared to repeal the stormwater system ordinance now that the class action lawsuit has been settled. The publication requirements for this ordinance have been met, and it is recommended that this ordinance be adopted. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Pines.
I will offer by motion to place for second reading and adoption ordinance number 2022-1 entitled An Ordinance to Repeal the Stormwater System Ordinance, Article 5, Section 27-100 et SEQ, I don't know how to pronounce that, and further to direct the city clerk to publish a notice of this in accordance with city charter requirements.
Support.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes the city manager's report.
Mayor Kendall,
All right.
Mayor
So the-
Kendall, if I may,
Yeah.
if I may have permission at this point to leave the meeting, given my situation,
Yes.
since the business is not concluded.
Thank you for sitting through this long.
Not a problem. Thank you. Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
Feels well.
Thank you, guys.
And wish you a speedy recovery.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yes, we appreciate you suffering with us.
Here comes the other guy.
All right, call to audience. You have 3 minutes or less, Mr. Kadat.
I think this is a pretty serious issue. If Harper Woods is to remain a peaceful and enjoyable community, we need to do something about these loud parties, where loud music is played outdoors at very high volumes and usually having a heavy rhythmatic bass content. On July 4th, Independence Day, at 8 o'clock in the morning, a House on Country Club started playing music outdoors, which had high bass content and at a very high volume, and continued on and off till 7 p.m. in the evening. This music could be heard inside your home with the doors and windows closed and through the whole entire neighborhood. So, and then the next weekend, I think it was on Lancaster, another outdoor party was held with heavy bass music at a loud volume. And this lasted in the evening hours for 3 or 4 hours. Last Saturday on Lockmore, a house, had another outdoor party with loud bass music, which can be heard throughout the neighborhood. And this lasted a couple hours. So why is it that one house can affect the whole neighborhood with this loud music, which upsets a lot of people? And personally, this was boom, the July 4th one was especially irritating. It was boom, boom, boom for 11 hours straight, and at a high volume. So this is becoming a health issue. There was recently an article in the Art Bulletin about noise, the silent killer. And, you know, to subject whole neighborhoods to this kind of noise, these outdoor music, where music is played outdoors at a loud volume from a residence, needs to be banned, period. And I don't see why it's fair that a whole neighborhood has to be subject to this type of music, which cannot be mitigated by closing your windows and doors. So it's becoming, and from my own personal standpoint, I'm seriously entertaining thoughts. If this is going to continue, I'm going to have to move out of the city, because this is raising my blood pressure up, and it's not healthy. So I think we need to really act on this if we continue to want Harper Woods to be, you know, a relatively peaceful and enjoyable community. And furthermore, I think most of these parties, which involve which usually involve a large number of people, and I believe they are mostly from rental properties. So this kind of adds a little bit more aggravation, I guess, to the situation. So if this is going to continue, this is the stuff that is prevalent in Detroit, and Detroit is trying to get a handle on. The police chief was on television recently and mentioning the fact that loud music in Detroit was a big problem. And they were going to issue tickets. They were going to have the police issue tickets for people playing music outdoors, for loud car radios. And we might add too that I think most of you have been subject to cars driving down the street with very loud music. And so now we're adding outdoor music that goes on for hours and hours. And so it's difficult to concentrate when you have boom, boom, boom going on. And if you wanted to, some people don't work afternoon or evening shifts, and they may need to sleep during those hours. And so this disrupts normal activities. So I would urge council to seriously consider banning outdoor music from private residences. The music should not be able to be heard in the whole neighborhood. And especially because of the physics, low frequency notes are very difficult to control. When you hear thunder, it penetrates and it's very penetrating. So the lower the frequency of the music, which is this type of music being played, is very heavily bass rhythmic music, and so it's very penetrating music. If it were higher frequency, like just voice music, it probably wouldn't be as much of a problem. But when you have to stay in your house and you have all your doors and windows closed and you can hear boom, 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 boom for hours on end, that I think is a health problem. Okay. So again, I would urge you to, see if we can get a handle on this problem, because it seems to be getting out of control. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cadet. Mr. Szymanski. Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Cadet, anytime you hear, let's say, excessive music, it's all complaint driven. You know, just call the police department.
Yes,
they'll
well,
send somebody out there.
you have to file a complaint.
Well, and again, that's how the process works. Somebody has to file a complaint.
But I think if the city just passed an ordinance banning the playing of outdoor music from a residence, then you wouldn't need a complaint. You might talk to the city attorney
We'll have-
about it.
yeah, we'll-
But she
we'll have to
left.
speak to
but-
the city attorney.
So I think there's a way around that because I would question for instance, this person that played this loud music for 11 hours on July 4th without any consideration for anybody in the neighborhood, I would have to question their mental stability. And so filing a complaint could, there's always a possibility of repercussions. So why would anybody, it would seem to me that any reasonable person would not play loud music for 11 hours straight, especially that type of music, with a total disregard for the whole neighborhood. So I have to question their, I guess, their mental soundness, really.
All right, well, we
Okay.
have a lot of that going on here.
Yeah, so I would think maybe we could get around people are reluctant to file individual complaints because of repercussions.
Right.
And so I think we could try to get some kind of ordinance that would get around this limitation.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
thank
you,
you.
Mr. Bennett.
Well, I remember, a while back, our Harperwood City Magazine said that Tim Hortons was going to be remodeled and opened up. And I pass it, quite half a dozen times a day, and I see nothing happening. You know, that was always a busy place, too. I frequented that fairly often, and when I didn't frequent it, I went by it, and it was always busy. Had a lineup of cars. When are we going to get that in service?
It'll be done this year.
That's good news.
Okay, thank you.
I like those.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christy Whitman, and I live on Woodmont. I'd like to address an issue that was talked about last week, the wood in the park. Now, I was kind of excited because the pickup truck came and loaded the back of it up, and it was full. They left, and I thought, oh my God, this is great. They're going to come and pick nothing. I have two piles. One is up against my back fence, and there's a tree probably 6 feet off my lot that's got wood all around it. Now, I'm just wondering, are they going to come back and pick up that wood?
Was this from DTE?
I'm sorry?
Was that from DTE?
Yes.
We'll follow up with that.
We'll follow up.
Okay, also, another problem that I have right behind my yard, and I know there's several neighbors that have the same problem, but I don't know if it's from like the service trucks working on wires back there, but I have a dip that's right behind my yard, and when it rains, especially in the spring, it fills up so full that it comes into my yard. So, and in the spring, you know how often it rains, so it's there for probably a month before it dries up. It started to get warm, there were mosquitoes back there, so I kind of limited my dogs being out back there, and I'm just wondering maybe if we could get some fill dirt or something to fill in some of that area. I know there's several other people, I don't know which homes they are, but there's several other homes along that fence line that also have the same problem.
What's your address specifically?
19195.
19195.
Woodmont.
Woodmont.
Yeah. Okay, another issue that I have, I know everyone received a letter about the blight, you know, the rats and grass, and a friend of mine lives in Warren, and they have what they call Blight Week, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it's called, I don't have it, but there's a name for it. And they have inspectors that go neighborhood by neighborhood, street by street and house to house. They look for things that are, I mean, tall grass, wood laying all over, you know, places for the rats to stay. And they go to the homeowner and they tell them. They write it down, they give them the paper or whatever, and they have so much time to take care of this problem. If they don't, they come back and they give them a citation. And I called today to find out, you know, if they run that program themselves, what the cost is. The person that I needed to speak to was not there. So, I mean, I just think that's a good thing, because I don't feel that I should have to police my neighbors. I mean, my one neighbor had grass like knee-high this summer and didn't cut it. And I was not happy about it, because I keep my yard maintained, and I didn't know if I should say something that the reaction would be, well, I'm not going to listen to you. You know, a lot of people are more resentive, you know. So I didn't say anything, and she finally did cut it. But I don't think it's up to me to police my neighbors as far as the grass and the wood and, you know, dog crap, which I don't like. But so I just thought this would be a good thing to look into. You know, I can call and find out if there's a cost, if they have it in their, you know, amongst their own people. And maybe we could do something like that, because it's a continual thing. So the mess doesn't build up. So.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We'll take it under advisement.
I'm sorry?
We'll take it under advisement for the city manager. He'll get
Okay,
back.
and also I'd like to touch on, the gentleman over there was talking about noise, and you and I spoke about that. Low frequency is horrible. I emailed you all the information. I don't know if you shared it with everybody else, but I mean, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. So if we could do something about that, I would really, really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I last spoke with you guys last month, a little over a month when we had the other meeting.
Let me have your name.
My name is Jerice Matthews. I stay at 19174 Woodmont. I'm actually up here. I'm going to represent myself as well as another young lady that came last month. She wanted to tell you guys how much she appreciates you guys listening to her concern about the meter in her basement. I don't know if you guys recall that, but she did reach out to DTE and she got the answers that she needed from them. So she wanted to say thank you. Her name was Stephanie Shipman. She lives on Damon Street. And for me, I'm up here because I want to talk about the fire hydrants on my street. We have 3 of them. They're a little bit dilapidated, I'll say that. They need painting. Some of them looks rusted out. And then a neighbor of ours had a fire, Evelyn, I think it was a couple of years back or a year ago. But the fire hydrant that's actually in front of her house, it took them over an hour to get the water to even work. So I want to address the fire hydrants on Woodmont Street. And also I want to, like Chrissy said, that we did receive a letter regarding the garbage and the rats and everything. I do want to touch on that because the neighbors, they have the cans, but they put garbage bags on top of garbage bags without having the lid. And that's a recipe inviting rodents, right? And I would like for the city to at least issue a ticket or a warning. Hey, if you don't get your garbage under control, you're gonna get a ticket. You're gonna be fined, right? I heard you guys speaking about fixing up streets and I've been at Hopper Woods for over 20 years, well over 20 years. And beforehand, the city would come out, if there was a crack and grass growing on our residential street, they would come out and they would fill that crack in. That's not being done, so I would like for us to get back to a place where that is being facilitated.
Is that in the street or on the sidewalk?
The street. Yeah, they did. They would come in, or if a street was cracked, or for whatever reason, from maybe the salt, because we know that salt can damage concrete, they would come and they would fill it, they would patch it. Years prior. I also want to address, I love nature. I love to plant flowers, some trees if I can, but some of my neighbors, they like to plant inside of the circle. We stay on the street with cul-de-sacs, and then there's that circle right within the cul-de-sac. Well, they're planting trees, and here's the thing, those trees are going to grow big and tall. Well, I'm not getting any younger, and I don't want to rake up a whole bunch of leaves. So I would, I think if they want to do that, maybe ask and go around and ask the neighbors, hey, do you mind if I plant a tree? And then, if the majority say yes, go ahead and plant. But if the majority says no, please don't. So that needs to be addressed as well. Please don't plant inside the circle. I might have an idea where, hey, I want to put a dollhouse in the circle. That can't happen, right? So that's one thing. What else? I think that about sums it up for me, and I think my 3 minutes is up. So,
Ms.
thank
Matthews?
you. Yes.
Could you see this lady right back here, Heather?
Yes, and you know what?
About your coal patch on the street.
Okay.
Okay.
And then one quick thing. I was here and I talked about how the city came and they did some maintenance, and they had to tear up something where they tore up the grass and they didn't plant anything back, and I gave my name to somebody. Was it you? Did I give my name? Nothing's been done. Okay. Do you still have my information, or do you need me again? Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak from the audience?
Sit so long you can stiff.
Yeah, join the crowd.
Good evening. My name is John Shenburn. I live on Ross Common. I was hoping that the police chief was here earlier.
It's right there.
I wanted to great job. I live on Ross Common. I live in a duplex. The other side of my duplex went up a week ago Wednesday. This last Wednesday. And they were out there in a minute. I get a little bit of smoke damage. I still got some charcoal damage, but they were out there, they put it out, and they were really, really good at it. And I appreciated that. Kudos. Grosse Pointe Woods was in on that also, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and give them kudos too, please. The other thing is I was in Frankenmuth 2 weekends ago, and Harper Woods was well representative. I belong to a group that has antique fire engines. We have 3 of Harper Woods engines. Oh, 2 of them are owned by my buddy. The other one is, both of them are Ken. And you can actually probably go to the site. They got it on Facebook of the parade and all that. We had 91 engines there, all the way from Texas and Alabama. Great time. Anybody wants to come next year, it's the last Saturday of July every year. I think what she was trying to say is liquid tar in the cracks, not asphalt.
She can assess, they can
Yeah, the
go out there
DPW
and
chair.
figure it out.
They can
Yeah.
take care of it.
But, yeah. Beaconsfield. When's it gonna start?
Pretty soon.
Do you,
It's gonna happen, sometime this month. all of these contracts, change orders,
Right.
I want to say it's been very complicated getting contracts signed because of the conditions with a rising fuel cost, with labor, and they're all in place now. It's definitely gonna happen. Definitely gonna happen, John.
Well, I can believe that, but the further back it goes, you do realize that there's really gonna be a problem with the high school.
We'll have to cross those bridges as we get to them.
The other thing is that, which comes on the back of that, I didn't appreciate the high school, and I know we don't, they tell us to stay out of their business, but when their business affects our business, I don't appreciate it. The school rented out the football field to Pop Warner or whatever it is football. And not only did they take up all of the park place where you couldn't even go to visit that park or to park, but they were parked on the grass. They were parked everywhere. The police was out there, and I believe they gave a lot of tickets that day. They had it was a couple of weeks ago on a weekend. And they had a big thing. I called several times, and the gentleman said that they were out there giving a bunch of tickets.
Okay.
But I don't appreciate if I wanted to go in and use that park.
Then you should take that up with the school board.
No. When it affects our city's parks and the usage of our parks, it is your responsibility to go to them and say, you can't do this.
Okay.
Not me go tell them.
Oh, okay.
Understand? I don't mind you coming back and saying that. But when it falls, my point is it falls on your responsibility for my ability to use that park as a resident. When they take up the school without any,
Well, we also had an ongoing project with the recreation, with baseball back there at the same time. So it was a combination. You can't just say it was just the school district. It was a combination of what was going on with Parks and Recs and also with the school district at the football field. So it was a combination that probably should have been scheduled better, but it was not.
okay.
Okay.
But when it affects my ability to use the park or whatever, I don't appreciate it. They were parked everywhere. And they say that it's the city's problem when you go to tell them that. The police should be out there ticketing them, is what they say. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
One quick thing. It's really, really quick about it. If something has to do with the residents and the city, shouldn't the residents have a say or vote in this, or is that what the Citizens Lab going to do for the residents?
Citizen Lab is going to bring the information to you.
Okay.
We're not going to have voting
Okay.
on that, or as a matter of fact, we have Open Meetings Act that the council has to, I want to say, worry about, to where we can't get council members engaged in a forum that's going to steer a vote or possibly create a vote. We'd be in violation of a state law. So in designing this whole entire Citizen Lab project, we have to keep all of those things in mind. It's going to be a way of getting the information with pictures, with comments, with, I want to say, even your neighbors that live in those areas, you'll be able to see how they think, how they feel, on the project. It's just getting more information to you.
Correct information.
All right, correct information.
Not the stuff people are seeing on Facebook.
Not just what
Okay.
people are putting on Facebook.
All righty, well, thank you guys for hearing me, and I also want to say that, I understand sometimes we may get a little frustrated, but that's still no need for us to raise our voice or get very loud because we are adults and we can have effective communication.
All right, no one else in the audience? Starting with you, Councilwoman Williams. Okay, now, from now on, people, we only gonna have one time at the Apple. Okay?
Yeah,
So you
I
speak one time,
remember
3
reading that.
minutes, and then
Anyway,
move on.
you know, auto insurance is very high. Any chance we could change our number from, say, well, let's see, Harper Woods is 48225. Maybe we could make it 48225A or something like that.
Take that up with the insurance company, yes. We would like to do something, but when you get that 482, it's automatically a higher rate.
Sadly.
All right. Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just said, I think 3 small things. One, I'm not sure how many of you have driven down Beaconsfield and Oast new basketball courts. That the city did complete them, and it's real pretty. It's blue on the ground, and it's very nice. And also Salter Park, that one's completed too, I believe now, and it looks really nice. So I just wanted to comment on that. Both myself and Councilwoman Paez ran for state representative. There can only be one, so.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Paez.
Thank you.
So, even though I lost, I know that we are in capable hands. I worked with Councilwoman Paez for the last 3 years on the city council, so I'm quite confident that District 11 is in very capable hands.
Thank you.
I wish you luck for the general election coming up.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
Good luck. And my last thing is, we had a charter meeting scheduled, but we did have to cancel it. So I was hoping to learn soon when the next one would be.
We'll be letting you know very soon.
That's it.
I've got nothing.
Yeah. Thank you. I would really like to commend Councilwoman Williams also for running state representative. And I want to say also that the Detroit News, or I'm sorry, the Detroit Free Press, in giving endorsements, recognized that there were 2 council people and that it takes a real foundation of knowledge for leadership, and that includes Ms. Williams, and she ran a really good race. So thank you. Also, I know our attorney is no longer here, but if anybody knows how to pronounce the SEQ period? Seek. And it means like sequential? Or?
It's like at all,
At all?
everything, yeah.
Yeah. Seek, okay. I also want to say that I'm really excited about this Citizen Lab, and that we're going to be the first city in the state to have it. I think that will really be great for our residents. We'll hear back from them, and maybe the frustration will lessen also, and there'll be some more clarity about what's going on when people come to the meetings. But I forgot to ask, how long is that going to take to get up?
Hopefully, we're gonna have it up by the beginning of next year.
Okay. And along with the basketball courts looking great, I think the benches and the trash cans from Eastland also look really fantastic out there, a really good compliment. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right.
My turn. I don't have a whole lot to mention other than the fact that, and I'm glad the police chief is still here. I've had a few people contact me concerning police issues. Apparently there's been some misinformation on Facebook, of course, but there's also been some concern that residents have been expressing about wanting the police to do more ticketing, particularly overnight parking on the streets. I know that we have parking only on one side of our streets because, you know, we don't want it to interfere with police activity as well as fire activity or ambulance runs. But people have observed that there have been a lot of cars in certain areas that are not tagged. So I just want to pass that along. And also mention, if we have a repeat speeder on our street, does it matter? I mean, is there anything called a citizen's arrest anymore? Is there any way that we can give the person's, you know, license plate number or something? I know where the car and the driver live. Their neighbor has reported that person to me numerous times. I've watched that car speed down the block in both directions, and they do it every day. And so I don't know if there is something that can be done. Any suggestions would be.
Councilman, yeah, you can pass that information along to me, and we'll have a car sit on the street and see if they can catch them going on their business.
All right, thank you.
Give them the times they got going. I've done that before, and they've cut people before based on that.
We
Yeah.
can do something.
Well, outside of congratulating Councilwoman Pies on her victory for the Democratic Party, just want to also say that our pickleball in Harper Woods is a success. I want to thank Jerry and the audience for also participating in it, and you're all welcome to come. Wednesdays at 9 to 11 and Saturdays 9 to 11, 1 to 3.
Councilwoman Constantino?
Yes, I wanted to say that I attended the Harper Woods Library Lavender Tea last Friday, and it was just lovely. Every seat was filled. I think they even had to get more chairs. And Sally's Spice Club over at the library seems to be really growing and is a real big thing. So if you get a chance to stop at the library and check in on the Spice Club and find out the things that are going on at the library, they have a lot of wonderful things. And this tea party was just absolutely adorable. So I asked them if they would put it on again in the future, and they said maybe they would. They'd like to because it was so successful.
All right, that leaves me, and I want to really thank the police department for the National Night Out, the first time in 2 years, and it was a success. Thank you so much. Officer Hunt's wife was just working like a busy bee around to help with everything, and so we just thank all the wives and others that was helping out, the volunteers and everything. It was a success, and everyone seemed to have enjoyed themselves. Special sponsors and DTE and others, Family Center, I'm not going to name them all because I don't have the list. So, but anyway, it was a success, and we had a great time, and the weather was good.
Great weather, yeah.
We had no rain, so the weather was good. Great thing. So, also, I have a project of being the helping hands for where I deliver food. A group of us volunteer every Thursday, and we give out food to Harper Woods residents. I will be making a change in the way we do this, but I will make sure I get it posted on the Facebook page for a new number and a correct number. The entity that I was working with, we will no longer be working with. So, but we will continue to service the people that we started over 2 years ago with delivering fresh food to our senior citizens and students. And we right now service about 50 families, and we deliver the food to them every Thursday. But I'm going to have to wait and give you a new number so that you can call us, and I should have that up by tomorrow. A new number so that you can call this number, and if you need food or assistance, we also have other things that we can help with seniors, like medicines and over-the-counter medicines and stuff like that, paper towels, toilet tissue. We have a host of stuff that we do give to the citizens of Harper Woods. And this has been a project that I started, and Mayor Pointer started with me, and we just have been going at this for a while. So a little hiccup, but Harper Woods Helping Hand is still here, and we just have to regroup for a moment, and I will have a new number and possibly a future website for everyone to be in contact with. So if you know anybody, in the meantime, you could call my personal number. It's 313-799-5831, and that's what's on my business card. So if you call that number and tell me that you need food, I will assist you to make sure that you get food and anyone that you know of. So after saying that, I need a motion, Mr. Jennings?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make the motion for adjournment.
Support.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Absolutely not. Have a good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending.